The following is a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club.
Welcome everybody to the 2022 Summer Chess Classic here at the St. Louis Chess Club. We have two very strong round-robin tournaments to bring to you guys. To bring all the action, I'm Grandmaster Alejandro Ramirez here with Grandmaster Cristian Chirila.
Alejandro, always a pleasure to be here in Studio B with you, casting the games of some of the best chess players that we have here in St. Louis. What can you tell us about the two events that we have? But before we get into that, we do have some breaking news. Tell us about that.
Some breaking news, and not the happiest of news. Unfortunately, COVID does strike the classic, and Ray Robson unfortunately had to withdraw from the tournament as he tested positive this morning. His results so far against Yangyi, Grigoriy Oparin, and Abhi Mishra are annulled for the purposes of the tournament. Remember that there will be ratings still counted for it. Not too much for Ray. He scored 50%.
And luckily, that doesn't impact the standings as much because he actually made 3 draws.
Yes.
He did not win, he did not lose, so it doesn't impact the standings and their individual results as much. Quite nice. But tell us a bit about standings in Group A, Alejandro. What can you tell us about that?
Let's take a look, and remember that some of these players actually have the result out of 2 games. So for example, Abhi Mishra, Grigoriy Oparin, Yangyi, they scored 1.5 out of 2, 1.5 out of 2, and half out of 2. So not out of 3. The rest of the players are on the basis of 3 games, and currently that means that Benjamin Gledura and Jonas Bjerre are leading the tournament with 2 points each. You could argue that both Yangyi and Abhi Mishra are also there with a +1 score, but they haven't gotten there so far.
Exactly. So Benjamin Gledura, Jonas Bjerre, they are way ahead of the pack, but they haven't played Ray Robson, so they will have a bye round in which they will not gain a single point.
Yes, that's right. Not a full point and not a half point either, as the results are being annulled instead of just a half-point bye.
Absolutely. And what can you tell us about Group B, Alejandro?
Well, Group B, we got everybody, so no real issues in this one. It's 4 players at the top, collegiate players, all of them, which is quite interesting. Brandon Jacobson, Kamil Dragun, Guillermo Vazquez, and Ali Marandi are all sitting pretty with a +1 score, 2 out of 3. Both Vazquez and Ali Marandi have a full point from yesterday's game, both of them winning.
And tied for 5th position, we have Mikhail Antipov from University of Missouri, Christopher Yu, Zhou Jianchao, who is actually playing Mikhail Antipov today. Tied for the 8th position, we have Nico Checa and John Burke, who lost yesterday against Guillermo Vazquez. And in Seoul, last 10th position, we have Tigran Harutyunyan.
Yes, and tell us a little bit about the format of this tournament, Cristian.
Well, the format of the tournament is quite simple. It's a 10-player round robin. We have 2 of those. One of them, unfortunately, only has 9 players left. 90 minutes for the first 40 moves, 30 minutes for the rest of the game. The players are also gaining 30-second increment starting from move 1. And how about the schedule, Alejandro?
Well, the schedule is simple as well. It's 1 round a day with every round starting at 1 p.m. Central. Of course, on the last day, on Friday, June 10th, we'll actually start 2 hours earlier at 11 a.m. To accommodate the potential playoffs in case that we need them after the last round to determine the winner of the tournaments. And of course, we start our broadcast 2.5 hours into the tournament starting every single day. That is no exception on Friday, June 10th. We'll be starting at 1:30 p.m. instead of our usual 3:30.
And let's not forget, you, the audience, can also engage with us via social media. You can reach us at #SummerChessClassic on Twitter. We are definitely very engaging on social media as well. And you can follow this program both on Twitch and on YouTube. Also, on Twitch and YouTube, you can also donate. Tell us a bit about that, Alejandro. Where does that donation go to?
Believe it or not, those donations do not line our pockets here in the studio. They actually go directly into charity. You'll be able to sponsor a full semester of chess programming for a child. You'll be able to help talented youth as well as at-risk youth receive chess lessons to help them in so many things. The St. Louis Chess Club does everything from scholastic chess at the very beginning chess to all the way to the elite events, passing through the Summer Classic, which is almost elite, but not quite there. So help us out. Every $75 helps a ton.
Absolutely, and your kid will get the best tutoring possible here in the United States from top-level coaches such as Aram Hakobyan, one of our friends here in St. Louis. And how about the pairings, Alejandro? What's happening in Group A?
In Group A, we only have 4 games, but 4 very interesting games. I think Yangyi against Ilya Smirin would definitely be an interesting one. Grigoriy Oparin against Theodorou is great. Gledura against Sevian, absolutely fantastic. But my focus is going to be in this game between Jonas Bjerre and Abhi Mishra, 2 of the youngest players, actually the 2 youngest players in the A group, 17 years of age and 13 respectively, and they're both leading technically the tournament because even though 1.5 points has Abhi Mishra, those are out of 2, as you can see on his standings.
Yes, +1 for both players.
And I actually want to go to that game directly because it might not last all that long from the position we have currently.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
that bad, huh?
Yeah, we've been looking at this position for a while between Cristian and I, and we thought that black was busted, but again, remember that we're not using engines, so we were not guaranteeing that they were busted. But it seems like this game
looks really bad.
Yeah, this one is one good move away, it feels, from collapsing black's position.
I don't think you need any spectacular good moves.
It's
What
just
if you
queen
just
takes
take
b4,
a pawn, right?
It's just queen takes b4. The knight on b5 is hitting the rook on c7.
Also, by the way, it's unclear if that's the best move. What if I just simply go queen to e2?
Queen e2, I think that the point of black is to go like rook c7 to d7.
That's fine.
And I get what you're saying, that queen e2 is also looking good. White's obviously better here.
Right.
And there's a lot of good ideas. The thing is, after queen takes b4,
queen takes b4 is just...
I just didn't see how you defend your stuff. The only move I could have thought of was rook d7, with the idea that you have...
if you take, the rook on d1 will be hanging at the end. And if you do take on d7, then the knight from b6 can take back and defend at the same time the knight on c5.
Right. That being said, even if that is achievable for black, even at the end, you're really
getting
lost.
Another pawn.
You can take on a7. You can also take on f6, force you to take with the g pawn. I mean, and then take on a7.
Take on a7. Oh my goodness.
I mean, this is 2 extra pawns, better king, everything.
And everything is protected,
Everything
right?
is defended. The bishop is defended. The queen is okay. The knight will come back to play on
Just
b5.
go back to b5. The knights are kind of stepping on each other's hooves.
Yeah.
This one is just over. I have to say, probably Mishra will be resigning very soon. But this is such a big result for Jonas Bjerre. Such a great start for the young Dane.
Beating Nikolas Theodorou and then beating Mishra, it's a dream start for the Dane. I don't think we'll see a resignation anytime soon because now I remembered that it's Abhi Mishra and he never resigns.
That is true.
Part of his fighting spirit. So let's go directly into the B pairings, Cristian.
Absolutely. In the B group, we have Tigran Harutyunyan, who has been struggling in this event. He already lost 2 games and is sitting on only half a point out of 3 matches. He's playing the white side against Brandon Jacobson. Mikhail Antipov is having a fierce fight against Zhou Jianchao, Christopher Yu versus Kamil Dragun. John Burke, who lost yesterday in a difficult battle against Guillermo Vazquez, will be facing Nico Checa with the white pieces today. And JJ, Ali Marandi, your ex-student, is playing Guillermo Vazquez, and this is actually the key matchup that we have our eyes on. Alejandro, what can you tell us about this matchup?
It's a classic matchup. Guillermo is a studious player. He just became GM not that long ago, actually. And he has been maybe board 2 or 3 in the collegiate events for a while, but suddenly he shot up in rating. He's crossed 2550. He's become the clear #1 player at his University of Texas at Dallas. And he's having a good event here with a +1 score. Meanwhile, JJ, he's improved a lot from his collegiate tenure. He actually joined SLU at 2460. And is pushing.
And he was an international master.
An international master
then.
as well, yeah. Not even a full GM. And he's pushing 2550 at the moment. He has had a really good series of results, including an incredible streak at the Final Four, where he was instrumental for St. Louis University winning the national championship.
And he's sporting a great-looking
look at
shirt
that
in
shirt.
this one. Look at that one.
That is an Aronian level shirt.
I like it.
It's
Love it.
It's a little confusing.
Actually, we do have another shot of JJ.
Do
Maybe
we?
we can switch to that one. That peaky shot. You remember the one that we discussed yesterday?
Maybe Vazquez is blocking him right now.
Vazquez potentially blocking him right now, indeed. And by the way, Vazquez, I saw him in the gym today around 7:30 a.m.
That is crazy.
I'm waking up at 7:30 because I'm jet lagged. I just came from Europe, but the guy was running his mind off at 7:30 a.m. This just goes to show how ambitious this young player is.
That's true. We got the shot we wanted. It's a little blocked, but it's still look at that. Look at that shirt.
Beautiful
I love it.
Shirt.
All right, let's get into their games because I'm actually curious on how they're doing.
Absolutely. So we're going to move to that one, the one between Ali Marandi and Vazquez. Queen to f3 was the last move, the one that you just saw. I see a rook on b7 already. Oh my goodness, what is this
going
mess?
on here?
What is this mess? All right, so I see rook to g8. It just feels like the natural way to continue for black, just to try to put some pressure on white's king, because obviously after rook to g8 you have a clear threat. You want to take on g2, and you cannot take back with the queen because of rook to g8.
Yeah, and then queen e1 becomes a little more
That's
playable.
another problem.
Yeah, queen e1 is a move right now. You could take on c3, but you don't want to trade.
No,
you actually get mated.
No. Well, first of all,
Rook h7 first,
mate in a couple of moves.
Yeah. So you don't want to pick up this knight. The queen kind of has to stay on h4. I don't see another move that's not rook g8. Maybe knight f6. I'm bringing the knight to e4.
Right,
Actually,
but you can also bring it via g3.
I agree with that. I like the move rook g8. It controls a lot of important squares. And it asks the question of white that his king is weak, and it's not just playing on black's king.
And just to kind of drill your point, after knight to f6, the problem is that it just feels like you're giving me one extra tempi that I really need. And right now I'm going to be able to bring my knight into play. Because now I go to f4. If I get to f4, I just have a feeling that that knight is going to produce a lot of unpleasantries for your position. Not only that, but it also nicely defends the king, the white king. The king is going to hide on h2, pawn on h3, nicely protected. So, by the way, rook to g8 was played by Vazquez.
And I'm wondering if white is in actually serious danger.
Perhaps you have to go back.
Perhaps you have to go back.
But now I can go knight to f6, right? And knight to e2 cuts the action of the rook. That might be a problem. Now, what you can do on the other hand...
And he's actually gone rook b2.
Rook to b2 is on...
It's on the board, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so knight to f6, how do you respond
I think
to
you
this
have
move?
to also play knight f6. And it's kind of a curious
By
thing.
the way, knight to f6 or knight to g3? Knight to g3 is also a serious contender because you are threatening to take the pawn on h3.
I agree with that. The only reason I didn't particularly like knight g3 initially was because knight e2, you don't have rook takes g2, which was so devastating in the other variation. Here, since the rooks are not connected, I can disconnect my rooks as well. And I don't know if it's good or bad for black, but at least I get either I trade off your knight, which is nice, or I get my knight to f4, which is also nice.
So I go here.
And I go knight f4.
And I go knight g5.
And either I'm okay or I'm just lost, yeah?
Correct. So my idea is that if you go here, I'm going to take, and now I can take this.
Right. Maybe I have to go queen f1 instead of queen g3. Ah, but you take with check. That's unfortunate.
Yes.
I forgot about
That's
that.
a good point. Yes.
Check
so
here.
Check, and now...
You take with check.
It looks like you're gaining my queen, but actually you're just simply losing.
You're just losing, yeah. It's kind of funny.
Not that we're going into an endgame, because this endgame would actually be winning for white. You're not in time to cash the pawn. But I can just simply take on e3, and I think this is pretty much over.
Yeah.
Now, Alejandro, while we get into the meat of these games, tell us a bit about the prize funds for these tournaments.
Well, we have some handsome prize funds here for the players. Definitely helps them out in their chess careers. We cover a lot of their expenses here, but they also get to come out of this event not just with experience and rating points, but also with some money. $6,000, $4,000, and $3,000 are the top three for the A group. Pretty good. And up to 10th place, which is $1,000. Meanwhile, in the B group, it's something a little bit less because, well, they're not quite 2,600 yet. But 4,000 for first place is not a bad result at all. 2,500 for second and 2,000 for third.
Quite nice, handsome prize fund in both of these events. And as we can see, Ilya Smirin right now, Benjamin Gledura just pacing throughout the playing hall. And by the way, this is not our usual playing hall.
No, it's not.
The chess club is undergoing renovations right now. We are expanding. This is a former restaurant.
It's a former restaurant. It's actually a former vodka bar, which is kind of funny, called Sub Zero. And, well, we went there pretty often.
It looks great.
And it looks great. The renovation that they did to this looks amazing. The tournament hall doesn't even look like a temporary tournament hall. It looks like a full-blown, this is where we play chess kind of place.
Wow. Look at that camera movement.
You see that? Technology.
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 And who is that gentleman in a suit?
That
who
in a
just
suit?
passed? Was that your student, Nico Theodorou, perhaps?
Nico might be in a suit today, yeah. All right, let's take a look at some games. I'm actually curious because we have so much fun chess for you guys today. I think Abhi Mishra is just dead. But in the B group, there's a few games besides the JJ game that are really heated up. And I think we should start with Christopher Yu against Kamil Dragun. Because we have this craziness going on in this position where Black is currently down a piece. But he has a lot of tactical shots available in the position. Currently, he has a pawn for the piece, which might be important. So you start calculating. Rook f8 is interesting. Knight e3 is interesting.
And by the way, just to pinpoint the last sequence of moves, after knight takes e5, so bishop to g3, knight e5 was played, giving up a piece in one move. Knight takes e5. You cannot recapture back with the knight because the queen is hanging. But rook to f2 came on the board. Maybe a move that the young Christopher Yu missed. Let's see. Rook takes f2, bishop takes f2, and now king to f1. If you do take on f2, I have a feeling that after take on h2, perhaps queen takes g2, and then queen takes f2.
It's actually made.
It's like a pinball, right? I'm picking up absolutely everything. Now, let's go back a couple of moves. Of course, after bishop to f2, do you want to go to h1? No, because...
well...
ooh, my goodness, check this move out.
You know what's also cool?
Yes.
It's even cooler. Knight e3.
Knight e3. Oh, nice. Nice. So now if you take, boom, check these bishops out. Nice one. So king to f1 came on board. This is what we currently have in the position. And I have to say, it's just a plethora of options for a Black at the moment. Knight takes h2 is one of them.
And I think this is the danger for Dragun right now, is that he has so many options and he has 10 minutes left and he has to choose something.
Yes, but you know that if you make the right choices, most likely you are going to checkmate your opponent.
You do have the feeling that it should be winning here, but I don't quite see it yet.
I can also just pick up your queen if I want.
The thing is, it's 3 pieces.
Exactly.
Right?
That's probably not what I want.
It's probably not what you want to do, because you do this, takes, and I mean, you have 3 pieces for the queen as white.
You can give a check, but then I just
hide.
Go into the shell on g1, hide there, and it does feel like it is actually white who has the better side.
Yeah, it would really come down to whether you can play d6 here, I think.
But d6, I can even go bishop to e2 first.
Maybe that's why I should not start with the check. Like go...
right.
Yeah.
And if I go here, now you have queen to f5.
Even this knight f3, it doesn't seem... It seems like white is pressing.
Definitely.
Maybe white's
Definitely.
winning.
Definitely white is
Somehow
pressing.
I don't like knight e3, but what else can we play? Because rook f2, rook f8 was the other serious alternative.
So let's see what's happening after this one.
I could take on g4.
With what?
With the knight, I think. Because let's just look at it, but if I take with the queen, bishop takes g3, I can't move my knight back.
You cannot go knight to f3 because you lose the queen.
That's right. And I cannot go to g1 because it's mate.
That's a mate, yes.
But if I go to the e file,
so
then...
you can only go to the e file.
Yeah, but then queen takes e5 is check.
That's another check.
And I don't even have to keep calculating.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just lost.
Pawn up, 2 bishops. I'm going to pick another one. I can probably checkmate you in the meantime.
Yeah.
Rook to f2 is coming. This is lost.
The issue that I had...
By the way,
he's actually gone for this.
Going into this one.
Interesting. But the thing is, I didn't see anything better, because if you go for this line and I take on g4 with the knight,
right,
it looks like bishop takes g3 is good for black. But then after king g1, this knight is holding h2, and I couldn't find the move here. Looks kind of silly, but actually white's pretty safe here.
I do have another check, but then you can just... Go away.
Cadoodle. And I just didn't see the follow-up here.
Yeah, it's just a check.
It's just a
I can
check.
continue, but that's not really
Not even
much.
very good, yeah. So maybe he didn't find anything better and actually went into this variation. We didn't like it.
They're going into this d6 line. And now, of course, I mean, knight to f3 is also a move, right?
Yeah, yeah. You could start with knight f3. I don't think it's a bad move.
I just didn't want to allow you to mess up my structure, but actually, if you do mess up my structure, you're giving me also your light square bishop, which is probably a much better piece than my knight. I don't think you want to take on
I don't
f3.
think so either. I agree with your explanation of that.
So, no, but
But the white's just better here, right?
it just feels like
It just
white
feels like
is-
the pieces should dominate the queen.
Yeah, one thing about the queen in this type of imbalanced positions, materially imbalanced positions, is the queen needs targets.
Yeah.
And I don't see any big targets for the queen. The king is actually on f2, not as unsafe as it looks at first sight, because I can just simply, later on, as I defend the knight on f3, I will go to g1. Then I can cover any sort of checks on this diagonal with bishop to f2. And for the pieces, I actually do have targets myself, because right now, if you do go e5, then I can just simply go bishop to e4 or something along those lines, and then you will have to suffer. The pawn on d6 is most likely going to get lost. Not only that, but if you do play e5 and try to defend the pawn on d6, also the square d5 becomes extremely weak.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. The position is so imbalanced, I decided to cheat a little bit with the engine.
Oh, don't tell that to our viewers, Alejandro.
Because everything that we said makes sense to both of us, and the engine just thinks we're completely wrong. Which is kind of funny.
Don't tell me black is just much better.
No, but if we go back to the position before d6, there was this like inhuman rook f8. Rook f8 is
Sure.
correct. King g1. I mean, we play king g1 automatically.
Yes.
The engine doesn't play king g1 because apparently queen g5 is winning. But good luck. Good luck assessing this is winning.
Again, it's all about the targets for the queen, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this
yeah.
is exactly what it comes down to. And right now, I guess you probably have to go knight to f3 back,
No, but then you're just taking.
but then it's probably going to be too much, right?
It's just too much, yeah.
Not only that is too much, but most likely
Yeah.
we will get some rook takes g3 at some point as
Yeah.
well.
And the current position, the engine evaluates it as equal, but I have to say it's the type of equal I would always take
White.
White.
Yeah.
No, not even close.
Same for me, same for me.
All right, let's turn the engine off and continue going through the games. We saw JJ Vazquez, we saw you Dragun.
Let's go to Misha Antipov's
Yeah,
game,
this
because
one is
that
also
one is
fascinating.
pretty wild as well.
Wow.
And I'm not sure wild for who.
So what's the material balance? We have two pieces as
For the
black for a rook and a pawn.
And a pawn.
It's not
That
much.
pawn is getting ready to go to h7, but that will always give me the g7 square for my bishop. So
Yeah.
for the moment, the pawn has to stay on h6. I have to prepare. But actually, perhaps I do have a big threat, and that is queen to c3 to get ready to go h7.
Queen c3 might be a bit of a threat, yes. I agree with that.
Because what you don't want is get the knight back to h7.
No, no, it's too passive. No, I agree with you. Actually, queen c3 is a surprisingly strong threat in this position.
So why don't we try to defend against that? Activate the queen at the same time?
Yeah,
Queen to
I was
b4.
just worried about a3 in this position.
Okay,
Not really
a3, so maybe I
improving.
should go to a5, right?
That
Because
means-
this just gives you basically an extra move. Not only that, but I have a feeling that you have some tricks like this.
Probably.
Um,
What about like the super suicidal bishop takes g4? It just doesn't work, right?
oof,
No way.
taking that pawn is dangerous. First of all, what if I did this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the mating threat. How do you defend against
No,
that?
here my idea was to play f5. This isn't the difference. That without the pawn on g4,
I'm still not convinced. What if I go here?
yeah, but this is a mess.
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
It's a complete mess.
It might be winning for white, but it's a mess.
It could also be winning for black, yeah, after
Yeah.
knight h7 or something like that.
Such
It's
a weird position.
very unclear who gets
Made it.
through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, no,
bishop
no,
takes
but-
g4.
But bishop takes
dangerous
g4.
move. But
I
who
mean,
knows?
rook g1 must win or something along those lines. Must
Now
win.
it looks like you're just being greedy, but actually you also have this idea to meet h7, king h8, queen to c3 with bishop to g7. If this bishop is still on c8, then I just have queen takes g7.
By the way,
that's a problem,
I just noticed that the main threat of white in this position is h7.
h7, yes.
I didn't
yes,
even.
yes,
h7 is a strong threat.
Yeah, h7, king h8, and queen c3, and bishop g7. You just sacrifice the queen, get another queen with checkmate.
Mate. Yeah, that's actually really funny.
So let's just show this because it's quite pretty. Boom, boom, boom. Get my second queen with a checkmate. Big threat that black has to defend against. So
we'll probably say this throughout the broadcast. I am keeping tabs on the chat. Thank you everybody that's participating either on Twitch or on YouTube. We do think the pieces usually are stronger. Like in general, we think 3 pieces are stronger than the queen. In almost every position, everything else being equal. But not on the one that we saw. And just to remind everybody that unfortunately Ray Robson did get COVID, so he has withdrawn from the tournament. All his results so far will be annulled. And
moving forward.
Yeah, we kind of move forward, yeah.
His results will be annulled moving forward as well. So it's not a loss. It's not a gain of rating for his opponents. No, it's just 0.
No, for Mishra it is.
For Mishra, it is, yes. For the games that have been played, those will be reported to FIDE. And this actually, Group A, that is, turns into a 9-player round robin.
Yeah, it basically means moving forward that everybody gets a bye. Everybody that plays Ray would normally would now get a bye.
Yep.
All right.
Excellent. Where should we go, Alejandro? Let's move on to Group A, right?
Yeah, I think Group A is calling our attention. We didn't actually get to a conclusion on Misha against Zhou Jianchao, but it's just complicated. We're going to leave it.
Antipov, you mean?
Sorry. Yeah. Antipov against Jianchao. I have no idea. I mean, like zero idea what the evaluation of the position is.
We'll give them another few minutes just to kind of stabilize what's happening and then tell us, show us the way.
Yeah, because we have so much chess. We haven't even touched Group A, and we're already like half an hour into the broadcast.
Absolutely. So we assessed Bjerre versus Mishra as probably winning for Bjerre, for white.
I mean, yeah, we can probably switch into that game.
Yeah, we still have Misha on
there you go.
Right now. There we go. So he did pick up 2 pawns. Actually, after knight to b6, queen takes b4 came on the board, as we anticipated. a5, queen takes a5, and now rook to a8. We assume that this queen is going to retreat back to b4. At the same time, do you have any other alternatives?
I don't think that you need an alternative when you have the move queen b4.
Right, but the question is, why is he thinking? Because actually, he just thought for...
What?
He just thought for 10 minutes.
What?
He thought for 10 minutes, so there was something that he was calculating. He just took on a8. Check this move out, Alejandro. Did you expect this?
What?
I take it from your silence that you did not. Knight takes a8, rook to d8, I would assume. Let's go on.
What am I missing here?
Yes, we're not missing anything. Let's just calculate.
So he's gonna take on
check, right? No, you don't want to give a check. Oh, there's some. Wait. There's some rook takes c5 ideas here. All right, let's find the rook takes c5 ideas.
Rook takes e5.
Rook takes c5.
Oh, c5. Okay. No, there aren't. You're not mating me with this material configuration.
There's no mate. Not only that, but you can just simply take and check.
Mate you, yeah.
Check. And by the yes, okay. Knight takes a8 is on the board.
I mean, you have to, right? Otherwise, your rook's hanging. So what if I just take on c7?
Perhaps this is it. Just a simple rook takes c7 followed by b4. Maybe this transition is what he's looking at.
But it's not so easy, right?
And I think he took on c7.
Yeah.
No, actually, I think it is.
No,
it's easy.
No, but how do you proceed?
What do you take with?
With the knight.
b4.
And then knight d5.
That's fine. I take with the pawn.
But then knight f4. Knight f4 is a huge issue.
Huh.
I mean, if you have to take with the rook and I go queen a4.
Okay, let's try to be smart about this. But how
I just don't understand why he didn't go queen b4. Can we go back to that? I'm like super confused. With the move queen takes a8.
Right.
Can I just go queen b4? What am I missing here?
Probably knight d5 he was afraid of. Afraid,
yeah? No, but knight d5, rook takes d5 is game over. You just resign. It has to be rook a4.
No, but by the way, also, is this a move? No.
Yeah. Everything's a move. Everything's. I think like
Then
once you
get
play
this
the
one
knight,
as well.
I think queen b4. It's rook a4. It's the only reason you wouldn't go for that variation.
By the way, we're going straight into that line. This is the position we currently have on the board. They did play the move b4.
Wow.
Okay, so I guess knight d5, rook takes e5 is going to be the move.
Wow.
But then you get queen to a4, right? And how easy is this?
I don't think white's even better.
Really? Oh my goodness, that...
Because if I take both of your pawns, you're not better. But how do
Sure.
you prevent me from taking both of your pawns? The problem is that you have this back
Also,
rack.
by the way, I wouldn't say that you're not better if you do take both of my pawns. Because I will take on f6, you probably have to take back with the pawn, and then if I manage to find the right configuration, the bishop coming to g3, h3, the king is safe on h2, and then if I manage to double up my rooks on the 7th, then you're in trouble.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it's that easy, even that. But,
No, but make a move.
okay, so knight to d5 just seems like the only
I
move in
don't
the
see another
position,
move. Yeah, you
right?
have to play knight d5.
And I have a feeling Mishra is on the verge of playing
It's
that move.
It's the only move I can think of. I mean, going knight a6 and pinning your other knight
Makes
and
no
losing
sense.
f6 doesn't
Makes
make
no
any
sense.
sense.
Sure.
You have to go knight d5.
So what we're saying is that if you take knight to f4,
That's just too strong.
that's a threat. The only way to defend against it is with f3, and now knight to e2, and at least you're going to pick up this guy, which is probably going to give you at least
It's probably only
throwing
equal.
chances.
It's probably only equal. Yeah.
Equal, yes, yes. So
So you have to take with the rook. Queen
to
a4.
Such a complicated mess.
But that's the thing. It's becoming a mess. And I thought queen b4 was just poof,
Yeah,
right?
it was poof indeed.
Strange. Strange miss here by Bjerre. I mean, at least I feel
It's not a miss though. But that's the thing. It's not a miss. He thought for like 10 minutes.
it's very strange, yeah?
When he had such an easy alternative, which is queen to b4.
But why
We
not
might
go
be
queen
missing
b4?
something. Okay, queen to b4. Let's just go back just for a second. I know it's not that relevant because the moves have already been played, but queen to b4, knight to d5. What do you do? Ah, queen to b4, rook to a4.
No, I've been saying rook a4 forever, but the problem with rook a4 is queen d2. I saw rook a4, but then I saw queen d2, and I thought it was just game over. And then I go check on d8, and I trade queens and everything.
You also pick up my rook in the process. So this is winning. I cannot take on h4. I have to do something first. But if I take this, you
It's
do
the same
indeed
thing, right? I just take on c7.
check.
Mm-hmm.
Then you drop the bishop, and you're winning. So we cannot go into this as either. If those moves are not possible, then the only thing I can think of is knight d5. So let's go into knight to d5. And to be honest, after this knight d5, I really was
So what's wrong with rook takes d5?
kind of puzzled.
Knight
about
d5,
this.
rook takes d5?
Oh, just rook takes d5 like this, yeah?
You just resign, right? I'm down. You're down too much material. It's over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take, I take, creating another.
You can't even hit
fork.
the rook on c1.
You cannot even go queen to d2. You're completely busted.
You're completely busted. I'm so confused. Knight d5 on the board.
Really,
This
what-
might be a big miss by Jonas Bjerre.
Okay, I'm gonna peek at the engine. Queen to b4 plus 7.
I mean, come on. Like, I'm telling you that something had to be missed. There's no way this engine is so clear.
Yeah. No, but
Queen
to
b4 and on rook a4? Plus 7, by the way,
perhaps
it's
he
a
just
lot.
missed this move.
Queen d2 is not the strongest move. It might be strong enough.
You can just go rook to d8.
And then knight d6,
Knight d6
king
following
e7
up.
here. But like every move is winning. Rook e8 is winning. Take on f6 is winning.
Some crazy stuff here.
I understand this is crazy, but so many other moves also won. Like I was peeking at your engine, and it said queen b4, rook a4, queen c3.
Yeah.
Easiest move.
Yeah.
Easiest move. No tactics, because you just take on c7 and take on c5.
Yeah, but here we are.
Wow.
Mishra might be back into this game.
The magic of Mishra.
Wow.
What a guy, huh?
By the way, while we were analyzing this game, Gledura versus Sam Sevian finished into a draw. And let's see what happened here. I'm just going to scroll really quick through this game.
Yeah, this is a very well-known
Nimzo.
Nimzo line becoming all the rage. Actually, Sevian played this against Burke in the Sochi World Cup last year.
Yeah, yeah. He played it with the white pieces, right?
With black, actually.
With black.
With black, yeah. So he had the same position.
So this was the game that he needed to make a draw
to advance,
to qualify,
to qualify
to the next round. Okay, bishop to f5, bishop to e2. Nothing happened up to this point, and probably nothing will be happening for the duration of this game. Exchange, exchange, exchange. White does have a pawn at this particular moment, but black does seem to have enough compensation for it. Queen takes f5, rook to c3, targeting both pawns, the e3 and the b3, and this is enough for equality.
Yeah, this was well calculated by Sevian. You just take on b7, can't defend it.
Yeah,
it's done. All right, nice game there.
This one was easy. Now let's move on to this.
Hey, Cristian, can you show the audience which pawn white is attacking on the Oparin game? Is there like a particular weakness that Oparin is focusing on? My God, this poor pawn on e5 is getting targeted.
They're really piling up on it, yeah?
I mean, like everything. Pawn to g5 to isolate it. Every white piece to attack it.
Look.
That's a funny position.
If you go and teach like a completely new beginner chess, and you want to see how much potential they have, you show them this position, and you ask them, what is white's target in this position? And if they don't tell you the pawn on e5, then you send them to tennis.
There's no hope, yeah.
Go play tennis. Go play tennis. Go swim.
Oh my God,
something else.
This pawn on e5 is pretty weak. But can you ever take it? The thing is, it comes down to the principle of two weaknesses, right? If you don't actually take this pawn on e5, black can just stay the rest of the game defending it.
Right.
But and what other target do you have? It doesn't feel like white has quite enough here.
At some point, you have to create a second weakness.
You have to create a second entry point, either with h5 or something on the queen side.
Probably h5, yeah.
Probably h5, right?
And
I don't know what it does.
By the way,
Actually,
the time situation is
h5,
completely equall right now. Well, not really. White does have 1 minute less.
And they're playing relatively slow, yeah? 24 moves, sorry, for both sides. You can see both of these players sharply dressed. I don't like my student's position here with black. It's just a little too passive, but you still have to prove it as white. It's not so easy, actually.
You do. You do have to prove it. And this is exactly why he's thinking for so long, Grigoriy Oparin. That is because at some point you do have to make a commitment.
Yeah,
with h5.
Here the chat is right. There's an Alekhine gun or Lyachin gun. Queen e2, rook e3, rook on e4, and I think black is preparing for his counter Alekhine gun. Rook e6, rook e7. Put the queen on e8. Of course, that's not going to happen. Exactly. It doesn't make sense. But
that's very nice.
It's pretty funny.
That is indeed very nice. Yeah, I mean, big moment is going to come in just a few minutes. Maybe the next move could be h5. How do you respond after h5?
There's a couple of actual responses to that. I was thinking of h6 even. Maybe g takes h5. I didn't initially like
g h5.
Knight h4, yeah.
Knight h4, right?
Yeah. I didn't like allowing the knight there. So I was thinking h5, h6.
h6, wow.
Yeah. If you take on g6, I'll take back with the rook.
So what if I take here?
I'll just take back. And here, I mean, I was too lazy to calculate, but I was kind of
not calculating.
I was kind of assuming you cannot do this because too many of your pieces are hanging.
I'm not calculating right now. I'm just guessing. It's not my pieces, so I don't.
Even rook e5 is okay, actually.
Rook e5, I take.
And then bishop takes e3. And then I think h5 is hanging at the end.
Take. And unfortunately, I cannot take because you have bishop f2, and this endgame actually is losing for white.
Yes, it is losing for white. So you actually take with the queen, but it will be just
none of this will happen because white played the move b4.
Which honestly, I like a lot more. b4 is a very controlling move. The point is that this pawn on a6, it might not be in a good square. You might have issues defending this pawn in the long run. I really like the move b4. Yes, it puts a pawn in the dark
coming
square.
on the a file.
Yeah, you never know when this is going to be useful. I really like that.
Yep, I like it. 8 minutes 45 seconds. This is going to be quite a tense game moving forward. But I'm hearing that actually in the B group, it does seem like John Burke, a game that we haven't seen as much of, against Nico Checa. He found some good moves, we're being told by the producers. And to be honest,
well, black is just lost. I mean, you have to take this queen, and I'll take this bishop next move, and that's just resigning. I mean, you're down 2 pawns.
Okay, so let me.
Wait, you're not down 2 pawns. You're down 1 pawn.
And then I take like
no,
this.
but then rook takes a6.
But oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just 2 pawns.
Yeah, that's the big problem.
That's
because
too many.
You cannot recapture. Rook to f8
Yeah.
would be a checkmate. Yeah, no, it does seem like.
But how did we get here? Because it seems like white sacrificed a piece in a very interesting way.
All right, let's see. So here, bishop takes b6.
Yeah, because he allowed this bishop e3 line, right? He could have gone queen f2 or something.
Rook takes f7, creating an immediate threat. Rook to f8 or
queen a8
queen
is
takes
a bigger
a8.
threat. Yeah,
that's
a really big threat.
Yeah.
And you can't actually defend on the king side too easily either.
No.
I mean, you're getting mated almost.
You can go
everywhere.
h6.
And pray that rook g7 doesn't win, right?
But also I can just simply
Queen g2.
most likely go this move.
Yeah, rook f8 is probably close to winning.
I do have a lot of pawns, I have to say.
Yeah, it's a good pawns too. This pawn on e6.
2 pawns, maybe taking the third one.
But there
later
might
on.
be something easier. There might be just immediate checkmate. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he did play rook to d2, king to h3, rook to d8 back, defending the 8th rank. Rook to b7, and now this
just over.
transitions
Yeah,
into a winning endgame.
Yeah, even on h6, I also had rook b7. Oh, they all worked.
Yeah. No.
So
this is quite easy.
very nice game for John Burke. He needs this win to bounce back into the tournament. Remember that he lost yesterday to Vazquez. So
He does indeed.
yeah, an important win here for John Burke.
We have a peaky camera for this matchup as
that.
well.
Look at this HQ, HD cameras.
The magic of television, as Yasser likes to say.
Yes.
All right. Well, this is, by the way, another collegiate matchup. Webster versus Yale.
Yeah, Webster versus Yale. They actually, I don't think they've ever faced in a collegiate tournament, but it's a classic.
All right. Moving back to the A group, because I don't think we've watched this one between Yangyi
Yeah, that's a little
and
disservice
Ilya
there.
Smirin. He started off shaky, Yangyi. But then, in the second round, a huge victory with the black pieces against Grigoriy Oparin. Followed up in the third round, but by a narrow miss against Ray Robson.
It was just an incredible thing. I mean, yesterday we signed off at 5 p.m. and they were still playing hours later. Yeah. Hours later, they were still playing.
He actually got a completely winning position.
He actually was mate in 14 at some point. Yangyi had mate in 14 against Ray Robson yesterday in a complex queen and pawn, well, queen and 2 pawns against queen and pawn endgame. And Ray suffered and suffered and suffered, and almost out of a miracle, held a draw from what should have been a much easier draw throughout the game. He shouldn't have allowed a pass pawn by Yangyi. But they played a marathon yesterday, and then after that, Ray got COVID, and Yangyi is now here. So they must be exhausted.
Absolutely.
But Yangyi is here pressuring again. He's playing against Ilya Smirin, and he's obviously on the better side of the endgame. He has an extra pawn. And more importantly than that, I think that Black really needs to find a way to defend h7 before he loses that one too.
Big threats for White. Rook to h6 maybe will be met by king to g8. So, and to be honest, perhaps the pawn on h7 is not even Black's biggest worry. Black's biggest worry, at least the way I see it, is this c pawn starting to move down the board.
That might be true.
So the way I see it, rook to c6 might be White's next move, if you allow me to go there. Rook to c6, you have to remove the bishop from this c3 blockading square, and then just simply go c4, c5. The more advanced the pawn gets, the more difficult your defense gets. So bishop to d2 was played. Now, obviously c4 doesn't work because that would just allow bishop takes f4. So how do you defend this pawn? Do you go king to g4? Actually, how you defend this pawn might be a very tricky question right now.
What if I just go f5?
You can go f5, yes, but I wasn't sure if I want to do that. f5 and now bishop back to c3.
But now I go rook c6 and I follow
Right,
your
you go
stuff.
you go here. But now I have a feeling that after bishop to f6, what do? You go c4, right?
I guess.
c4, and now can I invade?
Are you gonna try to mate me?
I'm going to try to hint at not necessarily mating you, but just kind of make things awkward for your pieces.
Yeah, this is not so fun actually for white.
For example, if you go rook to c7, I can just go back.
Is this a game of draw?
Yes.
It's not far away, right?
No.
It's
no,
not far away. You need three squares.
Three files in between the pawns. With only 2 files in between the pawns, this is always a draw.
Yeah, because the king can actually catch both pawns at the same time with the bishop.
So if this pawn would be on b4, then probably it would
then
be
I think it's a win, yeah?
Even
though
with
I don't
the
guarantee
H-pawn.
that.
Even with the h-pawn.
Even with the
might-
h-pawn, I
might
think
be
it's a
winning.
win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't guarantee any of this, by the way.
We don't guarantee anything that we say on the show. We said at the show, take it with a grain of salt.
All right, bishop to d2 is on the board.
Yeah, we'll let Smirin suffer here. Let's go back to the interesting games in Group B, because I think they're running out of time.
Absolutely.
Particularly the Christopher Yu game against Dragun. I want to see how that progressed. We still have 3 pieces for Christopher, but things feel like they've gone south for white. First of all, he lost a pawn somehow. His pawn on c4 is gone.
That's an important pawn.
But more importantly, these 2 pawns in the center, they're very...
If I manage to get some d5 in.
You get d5, e4 in.
And by the way, this might actually finish in next move because they've been repeating the position for the past 2 moves.
Yeah, because king e3 here, right?
So king to e3, queen. Now,
I think
there's a big threat.
Yeah,
bishop to d5, right? You cannot just like play around. Queen to c5, king to e2. Once again, if I manage to establish this control with bishop to d5, followed by bishop to f2, then you might get in trouble. So perhaps this is what the players are saying right now.
That is just equal?
It's just equal.
It's hard to assess this from a human point of view. I mean, we're not very well prepared for these kind of positions where the material imbalance is so big, and white's king is also so exposed. But obviously can't get mated, it's just exposed. I mean, black's not really running any risks in this position, but I feel that with the time control as it is, 3 minutes for Dragun, it might be too difficult to say no to the draw. King e3 was played. Is that a third time, or is that? I think that's already the 3rd position, right? Like that, he could claim.
With queen c5, that is the 3rd repetition.
With queen c5, he needs to wait for queen c5, right?
So black right now,
Has the
Kamil,
option, yeah.
has it in his pocket. Has the draw if he wants it in his pocket. He stops the clock, he goes to the referee, he says, with the move queen to c5, I'm going to repeat the position for a 3rd time. They will check if that statement is true, and then they will shake hands and make a draw. That is the correct way to claim a draw.
Or he could play any other move, and then we'll continue the fight.
That's another option as well.
Out of which, I mean, you could play king h8 and just continue. And
All right, let's go back to that Misha. Oh my goodness, Misha versus Zhou Jianchao.
Okay.
Because that one was pretty crazy, right?
Well, still very crazy.
Bishop to e4. h7 was a big threat.
White is down a piece.
White is still down a piece, yes.
How did this happen, by the way? Where did we leave it?
Wait.
We left-
What? So after knight takes e4, this is where we left it.
Yeah.
You see this move knight takes e4, and you assume queen takes e4 comes in instantaneously. No, rook to e1.
What?
Rook to e1. What is that move? Allowing... Who thinks of this type of moves? Rook to e1. Followed by bishop to f5. This is not how you play chess in general. Knight to g3 is an option to pick up the rook, but I would assume for whatever reason, this doesn't work. Because
I think I see it.
Because of what? Like rook to e8?
I think it's h7.
h7, and then...
Yeah, you have to go king g7?
Not sure where I have to
It doesn't matter. King g7 and the other one transpose.
Well, I actually want to go here.
And then queen c3. Oh, but now bishop g7 is just easy. What am I saying? Is this...
No, it's...
It's mate, right? Bishop g7, rook e8.
Oh my goodness.
King h7.
This is a mate.
Queen h3.
Check. No, queen here, right, first. Because queen h3, bishop h6.
And here
So I
F5.
think you give a check here. And then F5.
Where's the mate?
What is this mess? Okay, so check, you go here.
And then rook e7, but you have king g8.
But king g8 I can just simply take, right? You
And
take,
king b2.
but then I go here.
Nothing
right?
simple about that, I'll tell you that. I mean, it doesn't seem like white's better, but I don't know if you escape the perpetual
I might be better, actually.
as black.
As white.
Oh.
I just want to run away. With
You might be winning. I mean, I don't know. This is kind of crazy. Who thinks of
'Cause
this?
you don't have-
Rook e1. What a move!
Rook to e1. Crazy move.
I mean,
And the response was bishop to f5.
oh my god. I mean, the chat is telling us rook e1 is the best move.
Wow.
So apparently rook e1 was correct. That's kind of insane. So what do we have in this position?
Well, white is down a piece.
Piece.
For a pawn. You could potentially take that pawn on h6 right now. But I have a feeling you will maybe get checkmated if you do that.
How?
Okay, let's see.
How do I get mated?
Let-
You don't
let's
have
check
any
it out.
pieces. All right, rook g1. No, but rook g1, king f8, right?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
But even so, I do have a follow-up at least.
What a mess. Yeah, I cannot defend queen h8. I go king e7. But even here you have rook e1 and maybe even queen f6 next.
You have to go here, and then I go here.
That looks like mate, I think.
Yeah, I'm not
is
sure
this
what it looks
game?
like. So if you go here, you have queen e7. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is probably winning.
No, but so what? Rook f8?
No.
King c8?
I
It's
cannot
defended. It's defended, yeah.
That one is defended. And the idea being that if you do take on h6, I think you have queen b4 counterattack, right?
Queen b4 or even queen d8, and I thought, I mean, we just play for all results.
Queen d8, threatening, hinting at the idea of going to h8. Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Complete mess.
Complete madness here. Is there something we're missing? All right, let's go a little slower.
Not sure.
Little
but
slower.
1 minute and 30 seconds
My God.
to navigate this position for Zhou Jianchao. 2 minutes for Misha Antipov, and still 15 moves to go.
That is insane.
This one is going to finish before the time control.
I mean, there's no way.
That's my prediction.
There's no way both sides survive to time control here. One of them will
Okay.
blunder. Queen a5. What a move.
Move was
What?
played. Queen to a5.
What?
I get it. You want to control the c3 square.
I see. Yeah. So on rook g1, you go simply king.
You have to go king h8, right?
I don't know.
If you go king h7, check.
But why did that hurt me?
And then I go here.
Ah, and on bishop h6, you have queen h.
Then I go here.
No, but then queen d2.
Ah, queen to d2. Queen to h2 then.
No, but then queen d2.
Queen d2 again. My goodness. Okay, let's not go that fast. King to h8.
Yes.
h7.
h7, bishop h6.
Only move.
Yeah.
Because I was threatening rook to g8. Queen here.
King takes.
You have to take it.
I don't see another.
Give you a check.
queen d8.
You have to go back. Where's the final blow, Alejandro?
I don't see it. I don't see that.
Where is the final blow?
I mean, this queen d2 move is so important, but it seems to be saving black all the time.
None of this will happen because king h8 is on the board after rook to g1.
Not king h7.
Not
We didn't
king
know
to
why
h7.
not, but it's not there. Now,
All right.
same thing, right? Queen g2, bishop takes h6. I don't see how this works
Rook to
for.
g2, bishop takes h6.
Problem is queen d2 is coming next move, and that's kind of the end of white's position.
That is exactly why Zhou Jianchao got his queen to a5.
a5. Actually, very clever, this move, queen a5.
And not to b4 because you can start with a3 and now you would have b4.
b4, right?
Cutting the action of the queen. You don't have b4 right now.
I don't see it. I just don't see it.
No. Okay. So queen to g2 is not the only move, right?
No,
We
you
have
have
some
others. You have
options.
h7, you have b3.
But h7 is going to be met with...
Queen, what did he play? Wow.
Queen H2.
We're guessing 0 move in this game.
Makes
Queen
some
H2.
sense. Well, right now you don't have
Queen Bishop H6.
Queen to D2. You actually don't have a very good placement for your queen. You could potentially return, go back.
I think Queen D8 is a move here. Yeah.
Yeah, but no.
Because H7, I have Bishop G7.
Bishop to G7, right.
I don't see any issues here.
This, you just pick up.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and we might see that. Let's see. What do you do after Queen to D8? If my queen goes to F6, I think the game is over.
It's over, right? You just defend everything.
I think he's going for it. Yep. Queen to D8 was played.
Yep. Yeah, it's such an obvious move, right? You'd retreat the queen to its best square.
Yeah. No, I mean, and was there an immediate move?
I don't.
Wait. Queen to D8. The queen is still on.
Yeah, queen on D8, and then white's thinking.
No, this is over.
I don't see a defense.
This is over.
I don't see not a defense, an attack. It just feels like
you're a piece down.
You're a piece down, right?
You're a piece down.
Oh wow, very creative play by Mikhail Antipov, but it might not be working out here. At least we don't see how it does, because Queen H2, Queen D8, an excellent. This is an excellent moves by the Chinese player. Excellent.
Yeah,
Queen A5, and then Queen D8. Those are hard to see.
Queen to G3 we have on the board right now.
Okay, there's only one move for black.
Bishop to H6 will
or
come
resigns, yeah, like everything else is just made, right?
automatically.
But also I don't get the point of this move.
There is no point.
No
I think it's just that you don't actually have too many moves right now. Queen to C3.
So I think he wants to play, like on King H7, I think he wants to go F6.
F6, yeah.
Right, and then try for some kind of, I don't even know what, but something.
It's the only way to continue the game.
Yeah.
It just feels like it. If you do go F6 yourself, then I have a feeling maybe some Queen to H3 followed by Rook to G6, but even that.
Even that,
Queen to
right?
F8.
Queen F8, Rook G6, King H7.
And how do you continue? I guess you could go Queen to H5 and say that Rook to E8 is not possible.
No, Rook E8 is possible.
It is possible because you take, and now I cannot take the Rook on E8 because the Queen is pinned.
Yeah, I thought maybe you go Queen H4, but I feel at that point White is really just not really threatening much. Okay,
No.
you threaten a pawn, but who cares?
No.
Yeah. No, this looks winning for black. This was a fascinating game, but I feel it's getting to its end because F6 is such an obvious move. You don't want to allow White to get his own pawn to F6. It's one of only 3 legal moves. I mean, okay, Queen F6 also legal. King H7 actually also probably wins, to be honest.
Right.
But why, yeah?
Do I have any other alternatives as White?
After F6, right?
After F6.
I don't see him. Thing is, material is just too reduced.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Material is way too reduced.
You only have 2 pieces to continue your attack with.
Yeah, it's not very much.
And it's not enough.
It's just not enough. I don't think it's enough. I think black is barely holding, but holding, and when you're barely holding up a piece, eventually that piece will tell.
And by the way, as we predicted, the game between Christopher Yu and Kamil Dragun finished in
a
that
draw,
repetition.
right? It's an incredible draw.
Repetition. We were predicting. It does seem like he's going for the king. The hand movement is hinting at king to H7. No, never mind. F6 played with 4 seconds.
Jesus.
On
4?
the clock. 4 or 2, I'm not 100% sure.
How do these players go down on time like that? That's crazy. That is absolutely
It
crazy.
was indeed a big moment, right? Because F6, if you miss something, then you lose on the spot, right? But you don't miss anything because I don't think there's anything here to be missed. It's just that you're balancing your position so easily with your next couple of moves. King to H7, Queen to F8. And there's just simply no entry squares for my pieces. No entry squares and no tactics.
No, this looks busted for White.
Yeah.
I just don't think so.
Yeah, big move. Big move by the Chinese player. And if you do go Rook to G6, if you start like that, which he didn't, he played Queen to H3.
I think we're thinking Queen F8, right?
Queen F8 is probably the safest, yes.
Yeah, I mean, you could go King H7, but you see Queen H5 and you wonder.
Get the queen in play.
But you get the queen in play. It makes a lot more sense.
And he's going for it.
Yeah.
Queen to F8. played rook to g6.
Rook g6 is a bit sad because you attack the bishop, but you realize that rook has no more moves after that, right? So
Right.
king h7, and then it's very clear you don't have a follow-up. I mean, you would have to make queen h4 work, but there's no way.
Queen to h4. And what if I just go rook to e8?
Yeah, and I was hoping rook f6, and
Let's give a check.
yeah, you give a check. I have to go to h2, so you don't have a counter check. Wait. Yeah, that's fine. King g.
So you cannot take because I
Queen
just
f6.
take.
No, that's clear. But I go king, I don't know, somewhere h2. But here queen g7.
I'll give you another check.
I think at that point queen g7 is the best because rook g6, queen b2 is check.
Yeah, queen
Yeah, queen g7 here is the best.
threatening
Yeah.
the invasion
And as usual, these tricks with rook h6 never work.
because the queen and the king are on the same file and the queen gets pinned.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a pretty sad situation right now for Misha Antipov, who with this one would go down to -1, coming in as the rating favorite in the event after round 4. To be on -1 is not a great position to be in. Queen to h5 is on the board. Once again, rook to e8.
We think rook e8 is just over, yeah?
And he goes for
Yeah,
it.
rook
He
e8.
sees the
Idea.
trick that after rook takes h6, you can actually just simply.
Yeah, and
Take
once
it back up.
once this rook is active, that's
And I
it.
think this might be just resignation
Resignation,
time
yeah.
for the young player playing under the FIDE flag right now of Misha Antipov. What's happening in the game of your student, Ali Marandi versus Vazquez?
That's an important one for the standings, and it seems to be a mess. They have reached move 40, which is important. Material is equal, and it almost feels like black's getting mated with a queen d8 or something, but there's no actual follow-up checks. After a check on the g file, and queen d8 is not possible because of the knight on f7. But I could push my pawn. I could go c6. Starts inviting a lot of checks, though.
Let's give one of them,
Yeah, queen d2, and the problem is I think you just pick up my pawn.
either from c1,
C1
or
or
c3.
yeah.
Pick the guy on c6. You do have a follow-up with knight to f6 after that, but I don't think it's leading to much.
Yeah, I don't think it leads
So
to
for
a win,
example,
right?
Let's say this, go back, you take, knight to f6. Now I can just simply go king to f8.
And then we kind of play for all results. You could even just give it perpetual and say, let's call it a game.
Yep.
This feels equal.
All right. Let's return actually to the A group and see what's happening. Actually, nothing has happened almost in the game between Yangyi and Ilya Smirin. It's still
I don't know.
maybe
Maybe
something
some progress,
has happened. Yeah.
It all kind of... It feels like a lot of progress for white, actually.
Inviting this move h5.
Yeah.
Because now is that you gain the g6 square. Quite important, because you always have ideas of rook to g6. Also, you could potentially have ideas of putting the bishop on g6 and reinforcing its tenure on g6 by f5. Let's see what he chooses to do.
I think I would be very tempted to play rook f7 here.
Sure, why not? Let's create an immediate attack. On the pawn on f4, you have to defend with... Let's go bishop f5.
You could go bishop f5. You could also go rook a4, actually. It's a little passive, but you'll go bishop g6 next move.
I want bishop f5 for the moment.
Bishop f5, and I'll just, I'll keep pushing. I'll go h4.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
Check,
give
and
it a
I go
check.
back to f8.
Let's go here.
And I give a check on... And this game has ended in a draw. We did think it was equal.
Yes.
So no surprise there between JJ Ali Marandi and Guillermo Vazquez. But I think Smirin is close to a draw in this one somehow.
You do?
Yeah, somehow I feel a feeling.
I'll take you Yangyi in this one. I think he's going to be able to convert. Now,
Convert
let's
this one, yeah?
move at this one. The game between Oparin and Theodorou. Once again, a few things have happened. Actually, quite a lot of things have happened.
I like this last move. But first of all, I don't know how, but black got rid of his weakness on a6.
Correct.
I don't know how that happened.
So after b4, this is where we left it off.
I like h5, actually. Oh, man. Black really has no moves. Queen d5, queen d6. But as we mentioned, maybe white.
That's enough.
That's enough. Yeah.
He only need to
Wow.
equalize.
b5.
b5,
Wow.
trying to create something out of nothing. Queen to c8.
Queen c8 reminding white that he has some weaknesses too, right? Now that he pushed all his pawns forward.
Correct. So
Yeah,
queen to c4 was.
I don't even know if white's actually better without the A pawn. Without the A and B pawns? That was
Yeah. Right now, it's starting to feel like he's losing his grip on the advantage.
Yeah, this feels like it's just equal. Like, okay, white can just do whatever, and I don't think black can make progress.
Right. White has to just play a few moves, make the time control, make sure that he doesn't have any hidden gems in the position in which he can improve his position, and then probably just call it a day.
Yeah, this queen on c8 is actually kind of annoying. So you want to make a couple of safe moves before you reach time control, especially with only 1 minute left. But yeah, this looks equal.
And how about the game between Bjerre and Mishra?
Oh my. That game,
16 seconds for Mishra right now.
Yeah, but he only has 2 moves to make, so it's not that
moves to
hard.
make.
And he
King
makes
to
one of them.
F5.
King f5. I just don't feel white's better here.
Wow.
This knight on d5 is just too strong.
At some point, he might even risk losing.
Why do you mean, right?
White, yeah,
with
like queen d1,
queen
followed
d1,
by
knight
knight
e3.
e3.
Yeah.
Some checkmating threats, and if you take, I take with the f pawn, and then the f pawn
promote,
comes down
yeah.
the board.
No, I agree with you. This turned into a 3-result game, where like I'm sure that white has a draw if he wants it. I think rook f8 is just a draw if he felt like it, but because you cannot really take on e5. Go rook
Really?
e2.
Okay, I hide.
Oh, somehow I missed the square.
I hide.
But you go rook d8, king c6, or where do you go after rook d8? Just king c7, maybe. Yeah.
King e7 doesn't work because you take on d5.
Yeah.
By the way, rook to e2 was played with the idea of going rook to f8 and not giving
Allowing
the
the
e5
pawn,
pawn. The idea being that queen
queen
d1
d1,
is
yeah.
going to be met by rook to e1.
Yeah. And that makes move 40 for Bjerre, which is important.
Yes.
But not for Abimanyu, has one more decision to make. Plays the move h4, actually, does not care about white's threats at all. It's also possible white has no threats.
I like this move.
I actually like this move a lot.
No, white actually had a threat. h4, I think, was a threat.
H4 is a big threat, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because rook g5 comes with mate.
Yes.
Yeah, that's funny.
I was thinking, for example, okay, let's just make a...
Whatever, yeah.
Maybe even
here,
even
yeah,
now
you go
h4, right? Problem is that you don't have time to pick up my rook.
Yeah, that's
And
actually
if you
mate.
take,
It's still
there's
mate.
absolutely no defense against rook g5.
Yeah, you can pre-move it.
Quite crazy. You take rook to g5 and
That's an insane mate.
So h4 is a very good move.
I love h4. And as I said, I don't think white's better here. I really don't think so.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on this one. So, as an assessment, where we stand right now, Mishra seems to be finding his way out of the very difficult situation that he was in only 15 moves ago.
No, 15 moves, I think he was just lost. So he's a very resourceful player, finding some tricks. Easy to collapse in such positions, but somehow he's still here and fighting.
But I have to say, this was Bjerre's fault, because queen to b4 was such an easy move to make. It just felt like the most natural move in the position, and then you start thinking, and you start doubting your decision-making process, and then you come up with this move, queen to a8.
Yeah, queen a8 was...
Which just invites trouble.
Right.
It just invites trouble in the position. There's absolutely no reason to go into that. All right, h4 we have on the board. This one is going to go on for a very long time. Both players have made the time control, and Bjerre will be pondering his next move. Now, let's go back to the B group, right? Where do we have some time trouble situations? Antipov is still playing somehow, okay?
I'm not only going to tell you that, but I actually cheated because the chat told me something incredible.
No, don't tell me this is a draw.
This is just a draw. It's not just a draw, it's a 0-0 draw. Black can make a move.
Unbelievable.
And black just can't move.
What if I just go rook e3?
And then? Okay, so
At some point I will take.
So apparently, white has an actual threat, which is rook g4.
Rook g4 is a threat.
Yeah.
And rook g4 is a threat because of...
Because queen g4, rook h4 actually wins. Queen g6, rook h4 actually wins.
So you have to keep the rook on the 7th.
You have to keep the rook on the 7th.
Okay, but this makes a lot of sense. I'm actually threatening b5, right? Or at least I'm hinting at the idea of playing b5.
Are you sure? Because if you play b5, I take twice. What do you do if you take on b5, rook g4 might win?
No way. No, but then I go back. Then I go back to p7. So let's just make a couple of moves. Take, and you say rook to g4 with the idea queen g6 followed by rook to h4, but then I go back. And if you go here, I hide with rook to h7.
Even this, I don't guarantee, is better for black.
Has to be.
No way. What if I just move king f1? Make a move.
Oh my goodness.
Make one move. I'm going to start playing for a win as white.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you, Alejandro.
Oh my gosh. I think you have to go queen e7 and just go into the endgame.
But you don't have a threat.
You don't have a move.
That is not true.
I have queen e8 here, though.
That's okay.
You have it this way, yeah?
Because now I want to take this guy.
And if I go queen g6?
I take.
And you're...
I go into the cocoon.
And I guess rook h6 doesn't work, yeah. No, but
Nice
this
cocoon
cocoon is a little...
It's a suspicious
A
cocoon.
very suspicious cocoon, huh?
But it works.
Even this after takes, queen h4, bishop h6, queen e7. We're way, 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 way down the line, yeah?
And
But
I cannot play this move because of f6 and you actually win.
yeah,
That's funny.
that is funny.
But I go back into my cocoon.
No, but...
And then you go here and this is some sort of perpetual, yeah?
Get out of here. This game is ridiculous.
We found the perpetual. All right, rook to b7 is on the board. And
Unclear if you have a threat as well.
a game that we expected to finish 10 minutes ago will probably actually go for a very long time.
Yeah. This became from totally lost to actually equal. And we were completely wrong on our evaluation.
I'm wondering what the assessment is for these players.
Yeah, for the players, they don't know, right?
They have no idea.
They have no idea. So I checked with the engine. Back when we went queen c3 check.
Was king h7 the right
King h7 was the only way to win.
Oh my.
Which is a little insane because you don't want to allow f6.
He wanted to play that move.
He wanted to play that move.
He wanted to play
wanted
that
to
move.
play king h7.
Initially, he
went
almost
for it,
touched
yeah.
the king. Wow.
Wow. But because of somehow black just doesn't have enough resources to get out of this. That's crazy.
What a concept. What a defensive concept.
What a defensive concept. Black is just totally paralyzed. Wow.
Rook to b7 on the board. And we're going to be leaving these players to think about the position.
Yeah, they'll be there for a while. We actually reached move 40 in most games.
We have.
Is there any game that hasn't reached it?
No. No. They're playing fast today. All of the players are playing fast. Maybe Oparin? No. They just reached move 40. Yangyi actually, just 4 moves ago. Yeah, everybody has reached move 40, the second time control. Okay. Choose the game, Alejandro. I'll give you...
You might get mad at me when I choose this one, but...
Choose it.
Burke, Checa.
Excellent.
How does white win this?
You're asking very tough questions.
I mean, usually you win this endgames kind of easily as white, but proper technique is to not put your pawn on e7. I mean, by all means and stretch of the imagination, the way you win these things is usually by cutting the king.
Right.
And then you get your own king in. But with the pawn on e7, I don't know how you make progress.
How did the pawn on e7 get there?
He got kind of voluntarily, actually.
So we got to this position. And then he decided to go, well, voluntarily, yes, but...
Well, you didn't have to play e6.
But what else?
It's not attack,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can go king g2 and rook a5, for example. start with rook a5. I mean, I don't know. But okay, he pushes to e7. Perhaps he thought this was the best. We'll agree with his grandmaster evaluation. And I just want to know how you win this at the end. Go rook c6 on the board.
No, but if I go rook b5, a5, this has to be
wins.
winning.
It just wins.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to defend against this, but then I just go on the back rank.
I think you even just go check and start
Check
collecting.
and then...
And you just bring the
I
king.
push.
No, but this is the thing. You bring the king in. You bring the king
Or
to
you
e6.
bring the king in,
That's
yes.
why you want the pawn on e5, so that it creates a shield, an umbrella, however you want to do it.
Correct.
To the king on e6. This is like how you win the endgames.
But here we are. Rook to c6. Not that easy.
Not that easy, right?
Okay, so
Because he's running out of shelter. Here I thought rook g6.
king to d5.
You might have to go king d5.
g6, and if I
Here
go
on
here,
h6.
go
And you lose a
h6.
pawn. You might not draw the game as black, but at least I'll get a pawn. And now we have to calculate some races. We have to calculate what happens with the a pawn, where I'm going to hide my king. This became a lot less trivial.
What do you do now?
It might be winning, but it's not trivial.
So what do you do now?
Here I take.
You take, I go king f5. And perhaps you give a check, right? So I
Yeah.
take, and now h6 is not possible.
Yeah, and I'll even go rook g6 just because I can.
That's funny. That is funny. Yeah, no, that's nice.
Yeah, and if you go king f5, then I just keep attacking your h pawn.
That is very nice.
How do you win this? I mean, you're losing your h pawn.
And if I go here, actually, you continue with this rabbit rook.
Yeah. Yeah, and at some point I'll actually take on e7 like a normal person. Yeah.
And now this is, you are
Actually a
actually
draw.
in the square. This is the square.
And he's actually gone to e5 out of all places. I thought he just came from there. No, he didn't. He came from f5. He's gone king e5 instead.
Try to stay close to the pawns on the king side.
Yeah. So right now rook c5 I assume just loses to
King d6.
king
This
d6.
has to be losing.
Yeah, it has to be losing. So he's gone rook c4, makes a lot of sense. Attacks the pawns on the king side. On king d6 I have rook d4. Again, no umbrella for the king, right? You want to go king e6, but you have the issue that rook e4 is still a check.
So what do you do? What do you do is the big question right now that John Burke needs to be answering. And it's not an easy answer.
Yeah, it's not so easy, right? By the way, a game that we completely ignored. I mean, I assume white is winning here, but it's going to take him forever to convert. If he converts.
It's not even clear whether this is winning or not anymore.
It isn't to me. At the very least, to me, this is not clear whether it's winning or
He went
not.
king to d6.
Insanity.
And my guess is that rook to d4 is just going to come instantaneous. Ah, okay, so this is the idea. You want to go rook to d4, and now you're following with king to e6, and then you get a tempo at least on the rook. So then next move, I'm just going to push my pawn. And I'm going to do this a few times.
Okay, but okay, I just moved rook somewhere. I don't understand.
Okay,
Rook c4.
where do you do?
Whatever,
where do you
c4.
go? C4, okay.
Let's put it there.
I push.
And I just gave you a check.
And now I'm
No,
going to
no,
do the
g6,
same.
g6.
Ah, g6.
I know it looks scary
But
to
then
give
I go
up.
here, right?
That should be winning, right?
Yeah. Once the king goes to h6, I have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
feeling this is going to be winning.
No, I agree with you. Maybe rook c5 was the better check.
They're going into that line.
They're going straight into the
Yeah.
fast
I
move.
mean, once I have a feeling that if I manage to get the pawn to a6, that has to be winning.
Yeah,
Because I'm just
at
going
some
to
point
give you a check.
at some point the rook will win by itself, right?
You're going to pick up the pawn a7.
And you
You're
just
going to get the rook behind the pawn and then rook to
g8.
g8.
Yep. So at some point this just turns into win if this pawn on a3 gets too far advanced. Maybe
Well,
this was
we're going to check it out.
easier
because
than we thought.
Let's see if he's going to continue with a4.
And we can always repeat the same thing, right? Like you go a4, rook
Exactly,
c5, king
exactly.
e6. It's just the same.
Yeah, it's
Same
the
dance.
same pattern. So the pattern goes something along the lines of check, check, boom.
No, king e5, so that you have king f5 against rook
yes,
g6.
yes. Rook to c4, king to e6, and king to f5.
And then we do
And
it
I'm going to
all
do
over
this
again. Yeah, that's kind of a funny
For like
sequence.
20 moves.
It might be good enough. A game that we kind of ignored, unfortunately, was a game between Harutinian and Brandon Jacobson. but I felt that black had a pretty good position early on, but this one in particular just looks busted. This pawn on b6 is too strong, and it's clear which side has the activity. So the only question is whether you can survive the next move, because rook takes b6, knight c4 is resigns. So you have to go, I guess, knight d5. I don't really see another move.
No, knight d5 seems like the right option, but then you give a check, and then how do you defend? Maybe knight to c4, just simple.
Just simple knight c4, I think. Simple chess wins games. That's good enough, right?
Simple chess.
Yeah, king e5 is such a huge threat.
You have to react to that. Maybe react like this, give a check.
But then
now I can give a check back on d7.
Or even I go
you just
king
simply
d4,
go king
yeah.
d4.
No, pawns no longer matter. I'll take that rook on b8.
And you go here. Try to claim that there's some sort of a...
yeah. But I think at this point, black is just
c7.
prolonging resignation more than actually creating a way back in the game, right?
King to d... I don't know.
I mean, even if I go g5 instead of rook c7, like what is your next move?
Just play like that.
Just play like that. Just bind black. You have no moves. Why create threats? You don't need them. Just wait for black to run into zugzwang.
It feels like he's in a bind right now.
I think it just lost, actually.
Knight d5 is on the board.
Yeah, knight d5, rook c6, king e7. Even, yeah, knight c4, I think it's just pretty easy.
It just feels like
king
to e5 is such a big threat.
It's just such a huge threat. You have to do something about it. You just don't have enough resources on the board.
Not only that, but if I do get my king to c5,
yeah,
then this is over.
Yes, it's over. Everything wins.
Once I connect the king to the pawn on b6, I'm freeing up one of my other resources, and that just gives me a winning position. Yeah, I mean, the difference is in the activity in this endgame. We see every single piece of whites is more active than its peer.
Yep.
Beautiful display of strategic endgame play by the young player from Armenia. Now, anything has happened in this one? No.
No.
So after a6, king to f2, rook to e7, king to f1, rook to b7, king to f2.
Well, you can repeat.
He's just waiting.
What a save.
Yeah.
What an insane save, actually.
By the way, is this also a draw?
You want to perpetual immediately?
Yes.
Looks like a draw. I mean,
the problem is...
It's not even I don't even want this rook. I don't want your stinky rook. I want my
only if you go queen to f8. Now you want it.
Now I want it? I don't know. I'll play queen g6.
Queen g6 just makes a draw
even,
as well.
Even easier, yeah?
Yeah, this is a perpetual.
Yep. Yeah, it was surprising, but I think Misha Antipov, we completely underestimated.
Oh my goodness, look at the player from China. He realizes right now.
He knows it. He knows that something went
this is
awfully
actually
wrong.
a draw. He's looking at the score sheet, trying to pinpoint the exact moment where he lost the advantage.
Yeah.
He's not happy.
How can you be happy, right? You're up a piece and it looks like you're just winning. And then you get to the position after time control, and you realize that you are full.
He's laughing.
He's laughing, right? He's like, what? What? He is incredulous right now.
He's looking at his opponent. He's laughing. He's like, oh, man, you got away with murder in this one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what he's getting away with here is ridiculous, right? That's insane.
Incredible. Incredible. All right. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what's happening in this one.
Yeah.
In the Burke versus Checa
He found a way to win, and he's just going for it, right?
Just a4. This is going to pan out.
Yeah, maybe.
And what else do we have? Let's see.
Oh,
this one is, yes,
we might actually have most of the games covered today. So,
Harutinian versus Jacobson. Yeah. We know where this one is going after knight to c4. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, this is the one that we cannot really say what the exact assessment is.
Yeah, I mean, white's never worse, but The harder you push, the more you have chances of losing.
Yes, that's true. I like the fact that he's keeping the rook on the first rank.
Yeah, I like that too, actually.
Because knight to e3 will probably be met by bishop takes, and then actually rook to e1, and you might actually lose that.
Yeah, the thing is, I think most endgames where you lose the knight for the bishop are lost, unless you have immediate counterplay with like, you know, e2 or something. Yeah. But, you know, barring exceptional circumstances, just trading the knight for the bishop should be a lost endgame for black. Even though this pawn structure in particular is good for black, because you have a lot of queen g3, queen e1 type perpetuals.
Yeah, all right. So going around the horn in Group A as well, Yangyi versus Smirin.
Still trying.
Oh,
he's still trying.
Definitely going to try in this one.
I don't know how big his chances are, but he's definitely trying. Hey, they'll be here another 4 hours. I mean, they'll be here forever.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
but how? What's the right way to try at this point? Do you go f5? Do you keep the pawn on f4 to shield the king to allow it to go to g5? How do you continue trying to make progress is the question.
I think in this particular position, f5 is not very good. Cause
somehow you have to get the pawn on h4, right?
Yeah, I feel like you don't win when there's... The thing is, for example, f5, rook d4, king h5 I want to play, but you start looking at h3 and then you realize... Wait a second.
Be careful.
Be careful, right? Like, who's going to catch this guy?
Be careful.
So you don't want to be so hasty, but... Yeah, king f8. And I'm getting mated.
So I'm having a mating threat. You have a pawn ready to promote.
What a mess.
You want to give a check first?
I can give a check, but you go to h4.
Right, because if you go here, I go here.
Check.
You actually get into a worse position, but you go here to h4.
Yeah, and bishop g5, king takes h3 looks lost.
I'm just trying to find some sort of a tactic in the position, but
I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either. So if you don't give this check, then you go first to d8, defend against checkmate. Where is my continuation? Because this pawn is still going.
Strong, yeah? Once it gets to h2, there's no way white's winning. Hard to prevent that, though. You have to go rook a7 and hope that there's some
But
trick.
this is just...
no, but rook a7, rook d5. I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, this is just perpetual, right?
It's nothing more than that?
No.
Yeah, nothing more than that.
No, because h1 comes with
yeah,
check.
With check. Yeah, I agree.
So this one, he will have to find a different way.
Maybe you hold through a4, yeah, you go rook a4. Because I'm actually threatening that pawn.
Now you want to take on h4.
Now
If you do take on h4,
it's probably winning. Probably.
It's starting to look really close.
Yeah, even that, I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, it's opposite color bishop endgames. But I have to give the attacker huge chances to convert that one.
Yeah.
With the rooks on the board.
With the rooks on the board and 2 pawns, yeah. Usually
without the rooks, we know it's a draw.
It's a draw, right.
But with the rooks... And Alejandro, as we are getting ready to sign off for round number 4 here in Studio B at the St. Louis Chess Club, let's take a look at the standings. We're going to start with Group A results.
Results of Group A so far today. Remember that Ray Robson is not participating in the tournament anymore. He had to withdraw due to COVID, which means that Aram Hakobyan had a bye. And that leaves us with the following. Benjamin Gledura drew Sam Sevian. Grigoriy Oparin is still fighting it out against Nikolas Theodorou, as is Jonas Bjerre against Abhi Mishra.
He's actually not fighting anymore. They drew that game. Oparin and Theodorou have drawn their match.
So they drew half a point for each. And let's take a look at Group B.
In Group B, we have Tigran Harutyunyan still searching for his first victory in the event. He definitely has great chances against Brandon Jacobson. Mikhail Antipov is pulling a rabbit out of his hat right now.
Oh, yeah.
That's a Houdini save against Zhou Jianchao from China. Christopher Yu made a draw against Kamil Dragun. John Burke still duking it out against Nico Checa, and JJ Ali Marandi has made a draw against Guillermo Vazquez. Alejandro, quite an entertaining round 4. Tomorrow, round 5 in the books.
Wow,
Final thoughts about today's round.
it's going very fast, and I think that today in particular we saw awesome craziness. I think this game of Antipov, it was just great. It was just great stuff. We had the game of Antipov, we have the game of Mishra. It was very confusing as well. On the B group, we have a bunch of wild fights. The Dragun game was great.
Great game.
Great game. Even the Ali Marandi game was great. So we had a lot of fun stuff today. We'll have a lot of fun stuff for you guys tomorrow as well. So join us, same time, same place. We'll be here at 3:30 p.m. Central to analyze the games of groups A and B. Nine rounds per day.
Summer Chess Classic. Don't miss it. We will see you tomorrow.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Any reproduction or distribution of this content without the express written consent of the St. Louis Chess Club is prohibited.